one's approach to politics and to political principles, and particularly the foundation of politics, it's important both for understanding and then when you're trying to convey and convince other people that the foundational principle of politics, so of individual rights, is focused on human ability. That's the essence and the core of the principle. It's a means at a political, social level of unleashing ability, of giving it the freedom to function, and giving the individual the freedom to develop, to use, and then to gain the rewards of his ability. That's what individual rights are about. They have to be formulated in the positive. It's a right to life, to liberty, to property, to the pursuit of happiness. They're formulated in terms of the positive because that's the core. Their core and why they're needed, why they're originated, what their purpose and function is. So it's not the right to commit suicide, practice astrology, gamble my money away on roulette, and loaf all day in my pajamas. Even though there's a sense in which the rights encompass that a person could do those things, that is not what rights are about. So if you empty rights of their metaphysical moral content and orientation, as I put it for Locke, it's about protecting the rational and the industrious. To understand that's the whole motivation for the issue of rights. That's how they have to be defended. That's why they're controversial, because they have this orientation. And if you empty rights of this content, you empty them of their real meaning, and you don't convince anyone of what you genuinely need to convince them of. So if you treat them as neutral or negative, it's a disaster. Even if what you're saying is true. So it's true that rights are in part about the absence of the initiation of force. But that's not their core. The initiation of force is an evil. The absence of it doesn't get you to something good. It doesn't tell you what rights are. It doesn't tell you why force is evil. What it's interfering with is the exercise of human ability. And it's a particular type of interference that blocks and stops the reasoning mind or the reasoning productive mind. It's the only evil that can literally stop it, which is why it has to be banned. But it all has to be couched in terms of a positive. Or if you think of the common formulation, you get this from libertarians and many others, do whatever you feel like doing, so long as you respect the same rights of others. Now leave aside that this is actually contentless in terms of what it's trying to delineate something, but there's actually no content here. But if you leave that aside, do whatever the hell you feel like doing, and then let other people do that. What's so important about that? Why think that's valuable? Why are you mounting a crusade for that? There's no answer to those questions. It's part of what, when she talks about libertarianism of her day and the libertarian of her days, emptying crucial principles of their philosophical meaning. This is one instance of that. Or another kind of formulation that is often given. My right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. Now there is a use to that kind of formulation. The issue of the demarcation of rights is important. But if this is all you got, it doesn't convince anyone, and it shouldn't convince anyone. I mean, what's the image it portrays is I'm walking around swinging my fist, and I can't do that if your nose is there. Why do I want to do that? Why is that what life is about? There's no answer to that question. And Ayn Rand never looks at rights like this, even though she will use formulations like it's about the absence of the initiation of physical force. That's not the essence of the case for rights. The essence of the case has to be put in terms of positives, and the positive that it is unleashing is the full recognition of human ability. So everywhere, and as I said, this is not an exhaustive list, but everywhere you look in objectivism, what you have is a new and very different orientation towards human ability. Objectivism is about a love for productive ability, or you could even say, and this is the way Ayn Rand formulates it, it's about a reverence for productive activity. And let me end with a quote from Atlas Shrugged. This is from Galt's speech. It's one of my favorite passages from Galt's speech, and not just because it's insulting my ancestors. It gives this whole new orientation. and that this is what life should be about. So this is Galt to the world. You who claim that you long to rise above the crude concerns of the body, above the drudgery of serving mere physical needs. Who is enslaved by physical needs? The Hindu who labors from sunrise to sunset at the shafts of a hand plow for a bowl of rice? Or the American who is driving a tractor? Who is the conqueror of physical reality? The man who sleeps on a bed of nails, or the man who sleeps on an inner spring mattress? Which is the monument to the triumph of the human spirit over matter? The germ-eaten hovels on the shoreline of the Ganges, or the Atlantic skyline of New York? Unless you learn the answer to these questions and learn to stand at reverent attention when you face the achievement of man's minds, you will not stay much longer on this earth. And that is what Atlas Shrugged is about, and that is what Objectivism is about, this orientation towards life. Thank you.